Talk to a forward-looking farmer, and you're going to notice that AI and automation are really starting to change some thought processes on the farm.
We'll be co-piloting some AI on this year, and that'll be mainly for reports. And that's mainly just for like talking to my fields day to day, or talking through like what's going on in a field, and it categorizes it in my ops center.
A year ago, would you have used the term talking to my fields?
Nope.
That's Nebraska farmer Quentin Connealy. He actively works with several ag tech companies to keep his finger on the pulse of innovation and identify what might improve his farm.
Autonomy is going to be a big one as that kind of gets fine-tuned. And then Blue River Technology actually tested a lot of that here. And then they came and did See and Spray. So that's why I kind of opened up my farm as a testing spot. That way I can kind of see it come to fruition.
Q and I discuss how he's looking at ag tech, what advancements he's most excited about, and how he's getting creative to find money-making opportunities today on the farm.
With this agrivoltaics and the possibilities underneath the solar farms, I think I love farming, but all it comes down to ROI, where you can actually make hundreds of dollars off your acres. Why not? And then we can incorporate sheep, cattle, goats. Then I'm looking at some different plants.
The wakeboarding farmer, Quentin Connealy, on today's Future of Agriculture podcast. Hello, fellow ag nerd. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Future of Agriculture. My name is Tim Hamrich, and every week you and I get to hear from the farmers, founders, innovators, investors, the people shaping the future of the ag industry. Excited for today's guest today. I have known Quentin Connealy, who we sometimes refer to as just Q. I've really kind of just got to know him from following him online for several years now. Not only is he clearly an entrepreneurial kind of forward-looking farmer, but he's also one of the nicest people that I have encountered in ag online. I've been meaning to get him on the podcast for a while, and I'm trying to make more of an effort this year to talk to farmers about kind of farm-level innovation, what that looks like, so now was the perfect time. We'll get right into it here, but first, just some helpful background on Q. Quentin Connealy is a fifth-generation farmer from eastern Nebraska, where he raises irrigated corn and soybeans along the Missouri River with his family at QJ Connealy Family Farms. Deeply rooted in production ag, Quentin focuses on bridging the gap between traditional farming and emerging technology, bringing real-world perspective to how innovation is adopted on working farms. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about here today. With a background in interactive media and business, Quentin has become a vocal advocate for precision agriculture, data ownership, automation, and practical ag tech solutions that deliver at the farm gate. He regularly works with tech companies, and you're going to hear some examples of that today. Also, researchers and policymakers to test, validate, and communicate what actually works in the field. He gained notoriety in 2017 after a video of him wakeboarding in a flooded ditch on the edge of his cornfield went viral. A lot of you may have seen that with millions of other people. And since that time, Quentin's become an active speaker and content creator, sharing honest conversations about grower adoption, sustainability, and the future of food and farming. And just this year, he also launched a new podcast of his own that you can check out called Between Two Farms with co-host Nathan Filati. Here's my conversation today with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Quentin Connealy.
I actually went to college for technology and creative media, and just didn't know if I wanted to farm yet. Just wanted to get out there and try some different stuff, play baseball on the collegiate level, and just get the full version, get the full life college deal. And then, I don't know, technology was starting up back then, just creating code, HTML and stuff. That was kind of my thing back then. And found out I wasn't cut out for the office, and then I had an opportunity to come back to the farm and work as an employee for a while to get started. And then from there, I kind of just started developing my own acres with my father's operation, and my uncle's a part of it, and my mom. So just kind of kept going. And then the more I started bringing technology onto the farm, is like, we can really pinpoint some stuff here, because I know my uncle and dad didn't really always like the technology, so they let me handle that part. So it was a spot for me to get involved and start pinpointing and get some more efficiencies out there. Once it came to fruition, I mean, it wasn't easy 10, 15 years ago, but now we can pinpoint some acres and nitrogen use, water use. A lot of the sensors and everything's came a long way since then.
Right. Yeah. I'm curious what has changed now that you've gone from kind of like the young guy coming in to kind of the established operator here. What's changed in your perception of where technology fits?
I think you just try a little bit each year in spots that it fits. It's not throw everything on your operation all at once. It's a step-by-step process. And then I don't know, I think I was at FarmCon 3 years ago and they started talking about these early adopters and started defining it. I know it was kind of a loose term back then. I was like, I guess I fit into that. And so just kind of went with that. And the more I started talking to companies, they're looking for farmers to try to work with them and then make sure their products adapted to the farm and vice versa, and make sure it actually works out here. So I just kind of took a role as like a grower adoption. I kind of work in their advisory boards, and it's been fun for me. Brings products to my farm, and then I get to help these companies adapt to the farm. So it keeps me on my board, and I don't know, it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, can you give us some examples? What tech is working well for you versus what seems to be working for others, but just doesn't seem to fit well in your operation?
Okay, yeah. The first one I think comes down to irrigation management. With us being so heavily irrigated, I mean, 20 years ago, moisture probes didn't quite work that good, and they didn't have the levels they do now. They can't tell where their nitrogen's sitting at. So moisture probes are a big one for me. I had to kind of actually start using those on my own because my dad didn't believe in them yet. So started taking that stuff on, and then even like my dad would always kind of blanket nitrogen and levels out there. And I was like, no, I think we can fine tune that and find some spots as our yield monitors got better and a lot more grid sampling. A lot of that's came full circle now. So we can really pinpoint we use the soil wetness index because we're so flat, like each acre can hold a certain amount of water and nitrogen in it. So there's just a lot of stuff he had a great idea and made the farm work for 50 years. But it's just now we got to start using this stuff more efficiently as we watch water regulations, nitrogen regulations. So it's all come to the surface, and now like traceability and visibility in your operation. So
has there been any ag tech company that you've been like super excited about and then they've gone under?
That's a good question. There was some stuff with like scale tickets, trying to get scale tickets straight through the process to like take them out of my grain bins. And then like started helping them. And then a couple months later, I think he lost it or something. Maybe he didn't have a patent or something. I don't remember the name of it, but.
All right, there you go. For your entrepreneurs out there, pick it up and run with it. So basically digitizing scale tickets. And so you didn't have to kind of mess with all the paper tickets. Is that what it was?
Yeah. I think he still had to take a picture at the time. I mean, this was 2 or 3 years ago, but yeah, I think he's kind of onto something. And now there's some other companies working on it. And then with this AI thing, I don't know if we can tighten that up a little bit. So and then AI was a big talk at FarmCon. There's all kinds of companies and stuff starting up there, and sensors was kind of the main talk.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that because it obviously has been a hot topic on the podcast as well. There are certain applications that it's very easy for me to see, like when I hear about what they're doing in breeding and genetics and using AI to just like make that so much faster with gene editing. Like that's super exciting. When it comes to like digital tools on the farm, outside of some of the stuff that's been machine learning for a long time, I'm having harder and harder time like seeing like, okay, what's the like revolutionary application here? And I don't know, are you seeing anything that has you really intrigued on that?
Oh, yeah, I think let's start from the beginning, because like last summer I hadn't even really heard of AI in agriculture yet, and then like what are we 9 or 10 months down the road, and that's all I hear about. So I don't know if that's kind of area specific. I'm kind of out here just far enough out of the tech vibe, but I think there is a spot for it. I think it's a lot of like report tracking. Just like you still got to put all the info in there, but at the end of the year, it can all put it together for you. Or even like tractor manuals, and like we're working on with Nick Horob's AI in Farming yesterday. We're working on just having all your combine manuals, your tractor manuals in one spot. You got to upload it to the AI, but then you can pull it up really fast with a question. I think we still have to pinpoint where their knowledge is coming from. So otherwise we get that hallucination ordeal. And then even at FarmCon, the AI, creator of OpenAI, the CEO, he was there talking, and he's like, you still got to guide it as much as you can. You can't just give it a loose question and expect a real solid answer, one you can believe in. So there's a lot of, I think it's going to come with this learning curve, but I guess we're jumping on it all in.
Well, I'm glad you're doing Nick Horob's thing. I just think farm level innovation, and this is something I wanted to talk to you about as well. I think as the how, quote unquote, how gets more attainable with AI, where it's like, okay, we have these no code tools, and we can kind of generate whatever content or whatever application we want to without being a coder. Then it becomes like, who knows the problem the best? And in agriculture, the people who know the problem the best are people like you, are the farmers. And so if they're willing to say everything is figure outable and I can figure out the how, I do think we'll see a lot more just like bespoke solutions created for the farmer by that farmer. And I think that's exactly what Nick's trying to do. So it sounds like you're part of that kind of first cohort going through that.
Yeah, yep. So we signed up and got started with it, and it was kind of just an opening overview yesterday. We didn't start working on how to do it yet. We're just kind of brainstorming, and he kind of gave us the lowdown of what direction we're going to go and how to make some of these platforms, where you can utilize them, where it might be tough, and how much guidance you got to give the AI to give you good answers. So it's good. I'm fairly new to it, so it was a really good eye opener for me. And then we'll be co-piloting some AI on this year, and that'll be mainly for reports. Ask My Farm with Bob and Rylan, I think his name is. But we'll be testing some of that, and that's mainly just for like talking to my fields day to day, or talking through like what's going on in a field, and it categorizes it in my ops center. So I got field reports, and then we can do chemicals, fertilizer applications. It's going to track it all in there. So it's kind of just keeping me from typing, because I'm not a good typer and I don't like writing notes and leaving notes everywhere. So I think it'll be a good start. So it's still in the co-pilot program, and a fun one I'm looking forward to this year.
Yeah. A year ago, would you have used the term talking to my fields?
Nope. Didn't even know it was fruition. And then, so yeah, I started working with UNL Extension a little bit this year. We got a good gal in town, and she's really gung-ho about doing a lot of research. And one of her counterparts, Melson, kind of brought it up to me, and he's want to start building one for my farm. I was like, all right. And then a few months later, it sounds like everybody's kind of already working on it. So just crazy how fast it's coming, and we got to kind of watch ourselves now. Just got to make sure it's on the right path.
Sure. Well, I think with good reason, whenever we talk about technology here, we want to talk about kind of ROI and economics, and does this make sense financially? And that's priority number one. But from you and people like you who are on farm, having to pay for this technology, having to use the technology, I also like to hear about, like, how's it making your life better, or is it making your life better? As you reflect on the past 8-10 years, how has the technology you've adopted made your life better as a farmer?
Yeah, so that's what it exactly comes down to. That's why it's hard to put an ROI to it. That's the hard part. It's more of a feeling and more of a family time. I mean, us millennials, we're a little bit more family oriented. We love to take care of our family, and we have to be here, share responsibilities and stuff. So it's taken a big responsibility off me. I mean, just simple stuff like Operations Center. I can watch a tractor run across the county, or what it's doing, how it's working on time. Then even coming down to watching irrigation, I don't have to run out there and start pivots every night. I can start some from my phone. They're not all set up like that because it's not economical, but you just kind of set it up where you need it. Like, what's your priorities? So that's why family and farm are pretty much, we got to protect the family a little more than the farm now. Farm's a business, protect your family first. So there's this little different thinking here. And then our equipment's so efficient now. It wasn't like our parents, where my dad was out there with no GPS, and they had to work just daylight hours and get as much done as they could with little equipment. Now our equipment's so fast and efficient. It's a full circle. Like, we got it fairly easy now.
And if you had to, pick a technology or two that you just like, maybe you can live without, but you don't want to live without, is there what kind of comes to mind?
I think it's that Operations Center, because that allows, I still enjoy running equipment. And then I don't know how much time it saves me. Just like, I can tap into my guy's tractor up north, I don't know, 10 miles away or something. I can track in there, walk them through scenarios, what's going on, or something on the screen. I can see their screen and see when they're going to be done with the field. So I know how to call the next field or send them to the next spot. So that's an easy one. That one's fairly easy to adopt if you're a Mother John Deere fan, I guess. But otherwise, it might cost a little bit. And then the other ones, I think that irrigation management, just, I still have to go manually start some pivots, but it's nice to be with that telemetry to be able to start some from my phone and maybe save half an hour running around.
And is that through the actual pivot company?
Yeah, FieldNet's a big one. They've came a long way. They're one of the early ones. And then Rain Cloud, Rinky has their own. So we're very fortunate with good Nebraska companies that make these pivots and support them.
Good Nebraska companies. I once lived in Nebraska, but nowhere near you. I lived in Binkelman, Nebraska, in the southwest corner of the state.
Yeah, you don't go through that one very often.
No, but a lot of pivots out there in southwest Nebraska, but very cool. You strike me as a very kind of easygoing guy, kind of positive guy. What on the farm still just gets your blood boiling? What gets you frustrated or even to the point of angry at times?
Oh man, tillage. I guess I'm in a big tillage area, and then we're out starting this carnivore, and then like the Maha, Make America Healthy Again. Just comes down to nutrient dense crop and just like doing all this tillage and spending all this extra time out there burning fuel, expensive tractors. And it's one hard part about my area. We're so flat and we get a lot of compaction, so we do have to break it up. But that's why I started cover cropping a couple of years ago when we had the unfortunate event of flood. It just seemed like a good opportunity to incorporate cover crops into the operation and see if we could actually get away from some of this tillage and make a healthier, more nutrient dense crop.
And how's it worked? You said you've been doing a few years now?
Yeah, this will be my second year. So we got a second planting of cover crops out there. And the first year, the agronomist really liked it. Seems like it's really soaking up. The ground's like a sponge. It's soft underneath. And then we got a decent crop off the ground. So that's always a positive, because with all the extra inputs of drilling a cover crop and terminating cover crop, I was kind of worried about the ROI on it. Haven't totally broke it down yet. It's still kind of early, but seems like a good route. I mean, I only did it on, I don't know, probably a quarter of my acre. So it's not something you just jump into, being that uncertain how it works down here. And it's a little more common in the hills because you fight erosion and stuff like that. But down here, it's mainly just compaction and flood stuff.
And you don't have a whole lot of neighbors doing that?
Nope. You see a little bit more in the hills, and even on the dry years, it's kind of tougher because you think it might take up some moisture from your crop that's coming up next. But I want to try it. I think I just hate seeing the dirt blow around too, and then running around with tillage all the time, and it's pretty time consuming. We're not as bad as we used to be. I mean, a lot of it's minimal till, so that 3 inches or under, a vertical till. We did make a jump to a speed disc and have yet to get enough data from that to see, because I think it looks good on top, but you might have a little extra compaction underneath. Still analyzing some of those stuff. And that's what's nice about the Op Center. I think with this traceability and visibility stuff, you want to track every pass you make across the field for different programs. And so just keep an eye on that. And I'd love to get away with the tillage. We just can't fully jump in there yet because we get a wet year. It may never dry out. You got a bunch of stalks and stuff on top.
Yeah. And so how's it been terminating the cover crop so far? I guess you've only done it once because you still have this year that you'll have to terminate.
Yeah, we had good luck with it. And then I missed like 8 acres that I actually got sprayed the day before, because RMA standards, you have to have it terminated before you plant in Nebraska in my spot. So we still do. I got to watch the RMA standards, but got to plant green for the first time, and that was made for a pretty picture and cool experience. So I can say I've planted green before, but other than that, they were terminated. I mean, just maybe a touch tall, like 8 to 12 inches. So not too bad. I think it was a good first run. And as one of the, after the flood, we actually got it planted early August. So it had a good growing season. So, and then tried the radish and turnips too. That's supposed to break up that compaction layer. So I was going to do it right if I did it. I just didn't go throw a bunch of rye or single species out there. We kind of went a little diverse, little vetch to help stabilize some nitrogen if it was going to corn.
Nice. And you feel like early signs are pointing to that it's going to work as far as, keep your compaction at minimum and kind of help build that soil biology and keep the soil in place?
I think so. We're on the right route, and it's worth doing it for a couple more years so we can get some hard data out of it, because it's not one of those 1 or 2 year deals. You got to kind of stay long term, and then it helps with the organic matter too. So we're kind of watching that stuff. So a lot of it's by the river, so a little bit sandy and might not have that good organic matter. So I think we have it in the right spots to kind of trial it here, and then we can kind of expand out from there if it's working.
Any other tech tools or kind of farming practices, things that you've considered or are looking at, just have not kind of jumped into yet for one reason or another?
Yeah, I've been tiptoeing with Y drops. We've been testing those the last couple of years, and then we implemented Sentinel Ag's nitrogen plots this year, and they kind of worked in tandem with the UNL research. So that was a fun one to watch and see what actually came. They had blocks out there for low fertility and high fertility with the Y drops, because 2 years ago was my first year Y dropping, and it seems like a good concept. And I just wanted to where we can push that nitrogen to a later application and spread them out. Catches my eye a little bit. So we're kind of watching that, still early in the learning period. But up north, we saw some good, because we had 4 plots and 3 of them got annihilated by wind. So we only had 1 good field up for a plot this summer. So little things like that. You're wanting to do all this research, and then Mother Nature throws a fit in it. And
so Sentinel worked well. We had Jackson on the podcast maybe a year or 2 ago. He seemed like just such an impressive guy.
Yeah, he is. And he even came out and walked the fields with me. So that's pretty cool to have a CEO of a company like that come out and walk fields with you on the 4th of July. It was super fun. It was hotter than heck too. It was like 105 degrees that day. But we went out and checked it, and I was early in the application, and he just wanted to, they're working on the satellite imagery, but he wanted real eyes on it, so we know what we're starting out with. So just cool. You find the companies that believe in their product and are coming out to your farm and want to see it work. So That's one of the big hurdles I think a lot of these companies are fighting too. You got to actually have some boots on the ground, customer service, people to guide the farmer. Because I mean, you can bring this product to us, but it's not like we're going to know how to run it.
Yeah. That's very cool. What a great example too, kind of what adoption looks like. So let's talk about kind of your work off the farm. Has it been a priority for you to kind of develop sort of off farm ventures? And I know you've got social media, you've got the podcast. Has that been a strategic priority for you? Is it just something you like doing?
I'm kind of a believer. It's like really easy to stay on the farm and find something to do, but it's really hard to get off the farm and go have actual conversations, network, and meet with companies. So that's why, whenever the opportunity comes, I'm an introvert, so I know I don't seem like it. I'm kind of came out of it, but it's really hard to go out and hang out at a conference that you might not know anybody. But so that's why it's just like a personal growth and getting better at talking and getting out there. So it's more of I don't know. I saw something earlier in the year. It's like we're never happy because we keep setting the bar higher, and that's kind of what I've took into 26 years. That we're going to keep pushing the farm, pushing myself, the personal growth, and that's part of the starting the podcast with Nathan. I think that's a big part behind it because I mean, just like you, we've done the social media for a while, and it come and goes. It's fun for a little bit, and then it gets old, and then it's just same old bickering. So what are we really solving? So it's kind of these conversations like me and you are having right now that somebody will listen and take it home and fix something on the farm or the business.
Yeah, totally. No, absolutely. And talk more about the podcast. So, we've got an audience of podcast listeners here that probably want to know more about it.
Okay. Yeah. So that was, we're in it. We just cut our second episode, first official one. First one is kind of just an intro, but yeah, it's Nathan Filady. He's North Dakota, starting a farm now. He's been in the ag tech sector 20 to 30 years. I think his dad started Stat Shot. So he's been in the satellite imagery a long time and just really knowledgeable on the business side and ag tech adoption side. And then I'm kind of the farmer that likes using the ag tech on the side and having it work on my farm and then helping companies bring it to the farm and work on the farm. Like we started this conversation over a year ago that we're actually thinking about starting it. And then here a year later, we got it going and I think we got a little bit of traction. It's fun. So, and then having conversations like you having us on, this will be great. So I think we've only had a couple, but I think we're going to hopefully solve some problems and then hopefully have some people on if they want to help solve problems too and on the farm and grow adoption. I think it's open for a conversation and it's just more of that ag tech based.
Awesome. Between Two Farms is the name. I've already complimented you guys on the name. I think it's awesome. Obviously a nod to Between Two Ferns, which is the hilarious Zach Galifianakis show. First of all, it's fitting. You're both farm, but also just a hilarious, kind of a silly side to it, which I think
you're the first one that's gotten that. So yeah.
Oh,
that was kind of Nathan's idea. Yeah. Once I heard that, I was like, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Let's do that.
And are you doing some kind of, influencer stuff? Are you finding that for other farmers listening, has that kind of focus on social media been beneficial for you?
Yeah, it's been a good experience. I think it gives me a way to help these companies along and I can leverage my social media voice. I mean, I'm not like just going to bring on somebody. I got to believe in them and see the process and make sure it works before I talk about it. So there is kind of an interview process that goes through that. And if I'm going to speak for something, it's going to be true. So it's not like I just bring on anybody and talk about them. It's been fun, but it's a good way to leverage, I think. And if you want to test some products, get your social media following, and then you guys kind of got free reign. That way it doesn't cost me as much, or if anything, they just bring it up to the farm and I get to test it. It's a lot of testing. So, and then if it keeps working, then if you believe in it, fourth, fifth year, you can start paying for it. So it's a good process to get started into for getting these companies off and going.
Uh-huh. And for you, obviously you've got a family, you got this farm business and social media stuff now, podcast. What have you had to say no to, or how have you been able to kind of balance it all to make sure that you still, are spending your time where your priorities lie?
It's getting touchy. And then I actually have a conversation coming up. I'm gonna talk to a life coach and see just like a motivational, make sure that's what I'm hard to just prioritizing WISP. But I mean, we got a family farm and then all this other stuff off the farm. So you kind of got a family first and then farm because that's kind of my main business, I guess. And then the influencer speaking, that's kind of the back burner. And that's why we kind of knock it out in the winter. That's why I'll move around a lot more in the winter, maybe once or twice in the summer, but you always make it work. And then it takes a good family at home. Then even with my uncle and my mom that are farming with now, then I got hired men that are really great. So it takes a whole team to help it running. And And that's why I've had to kind of start charging to leave the farm. That way it pays for my guys back home. So you got to kind of find those, and it's hard because I always said it was worth the experience, but the more you do it, the more you need paid for it to keep the farm running while you're gone. So you figure more out as it goes along. So it's been a process too.
For sure. And I think that's a great tip, especially for other farmers. I've realized business owners in general don't know how to value their own time because they're just always working, and it's not like they're not logging their hours and getting paid per hour. And so charging to leave is something that I highly encourage people to do. Your time is valuable, and it should be valued by other people out there, especially if they're asking you to travel somewhere. So I think that's a great tip. Well, I know for you, one big change had been losing your dad after coming back, working on the farm, working with him. Can you talk about that and kind of like how that has, molded you into the guy you are today?
Yeah, that's probably the saddest part of farming, just being back. And I only got to enjoy him on the farm maybe 13 or 14 years. Wish I would have soaked up more knowledge and kept track of it a lot better, but he was just a good mentor. When I got back, you got to learn how to make a decision. We make a decision even if it's wrong. That was my part, but I don't know. Starts out in high school. He started pushing me in high school to work on the farm a little bit. So I play football games Friday night, level grain bins on Saturday, and then I was a baseball guy. So we play double headers in Omaha on Sunday. So just like that whole aspect of life, you only have so much time in the arena. So just be in there, be active and do it. And then even when I came back from college, it got me involved in the Chamber of Commerce, which then came to starting a sweet corn festival in town. And then I grow the sweet corn for that. So it's just it seems little small things at the time and you might resent it a little bit, but it's actually all that personal growth they give you and it never ends. So just lucky to have a good father figure like that. And that's why I kind of coined the phrase bridging his tradition and my technology into modern farming. It's kind of my new bumper sticker going into 2026 here. And I thought that really hit because he's firm in his ways. He was successful for 52 years, maybe except the 80s. The 80s were tough. And my mom actually called me after this podcast, the first podcast we did. She's like, do you know how much I did on the farm in the 80s? Raised you guys and ran the auger wagon and came out disking every night. And I was like, I guess I didn't give my mom enough credit because, she kept the house going, kept the farm going for my dad. Because in the 80s, it's a lot tougher than now. A lot of those guys had to go to town and get a job or go trucking, long haul trucking. So I think we're kind of fortunate times are. And then I got a good wife has a very stable home and job. So it's just, you don't take for granted how far you've come and what you've done in your life because there's just a lot of people that affected it and made it happen.
Yeah. And you said your wife, she works off the farm as well?
Yep. She's a physician assistant, so has a good, stable job. And then we got 2 kids. Corbin's 10 years old in 5th grade, and then Willa's a little 5-year-old kindergarten. Just a little dancer. She's not too busy yet, but little man's in all the sports, and so he's got us running around like crazy, but we'll enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good attitude. We're in that phase of life as well. A 12-year-old daughter who's into theater and music, and then 8-year-old son who's into all the sports. We're doing a jiu-jitsu tournament tomorrow for him, and then a 4-year-old boy who just is just getting started with activities. I'm like, oh man, I hope he doesn't have too many interests. So, being 5th generation, do you feel that pressure to, especially when the farm economy is what it is today, does it feel like added stress and pressure knowing that, you've had 4 generations before you that have had to keep this thing going?
Yeah, pretty much every day. There's a few sleepless nights. I'm getting a little better as we got healthier. The sleep got better, but yeah, it's just always that worry. It's testing all this new technology on the farm and you just hope it works and you didn't dump too much money into it, whether it be kind of the RTK stuff and like even just automation on the grain cart and combine just to make our lives easier so we can run longer during the day. You just hope that doesn't come backfire. So you kind of pick and choose where you spend a little bit extra money. But yeah, it's I don't know. I kind of compared it to the 80s. I don't think we're that drastic. It's not near that bad, but just everything's so expensive right now. So you want to use it wisely and to the best of your knowledge. And then that's why a lot of this traceability and visibility, at least we can see how many hours we're putting on a tractor, where it's going, where's horsepower utilized. So that's why I want to start we can start breaking down this stuff more.
And what's changed for you? You farmed through some really good years and now through some tough years. How's that changed your, decisions in terms of business or even your kind of personal life? Because in a farm, that's all sort of mixed.
2018 was the roughest for me, was actually coming out of the wakeboarding deal. And then 2018, the grain markets kind of crashed. And that was kind of before I started watching all this. So I wasn't up to my marketing, wasn't having a cash flow, wasn't checking my bank enough, doing the ROIs. So that was kind of when my switch flipped. So then 19 and 20, I started incorporating a marketing team. I had a finance team, tracks all my bank statements, does everything on that side for me because that was the part I was bad at. So I was like, I'm going to hire a professional to do that part. That way I can concentrate more on the farm and more on this technology side and finding the efficiencies, stuff I'm good at and that I like doing. So it's kind of more of a delegation to take some responsibility off me, and then they start sleeping better at night. And it's been a process. I mean, we keep adding stuff a little bit every year, but I can't believe I've been with them for 6-7 years now, but it feels just like yesterday we started up and we're always working on it. I can always bounce ideas off them on purchases because they have a day-to-day where we're sitting at right now. And then that makes my bank a lot happier with me, takes a lot of pressure off me. So
you feel like that's made a big impact?
Yeah, I'm not near as scared as I was in 2018. I mean, stuff's tight right now and we're kind of watching the working capital is what I'm really worried about. So I don't know. It's came a long way and I feel better about it, having my I's dotted, T's crossed. I just feel a lot better about the situation, knowing I got a team behind me and it's just not me out here in a room talking to you, scared to death, but I'm hoping we got it all figured out.
Yeah, that's really cool. Good for you. Let's talk about kind of future here a little bit. The show, as you know, is called Future of Agriculture. What do you think we're going to be talking a lot more about in 10 years that we're not talking about as much today?
I don't know, the scary part, I mean, it's the easy one, AI, but I think this robotics thing is going to be coming a lot further as we get more with chemical regulations. And then that nutrient-dense crop, I think robots is one I have on my radar. Haven't had any up to the farm yet. I almost had one up last year. I like that Greenfield Robotics. Clint is a good friend and met him finally at the Lincoln Farm Show. But just watching those robots do the job and cut out chemical, I think the efficiency is not quite there yet, but I expect that'll get better, like at a daily per acre rate. But I see that getting better, and then that's going to be a fun one to watch.
Very cool. And, who other either companies or individuals that you're watching right now that you think, okay, they're on to something, and maybe they're early or maybe not, but they're on to something that, selfishly, this is a great way to mine for future guests as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think Interplant's a good one. And I kind of got started with them a long time ago when they were first starting the inner circle. And then they're actually getting some beans in Nebraska, more plots this year. So that's what'll help a lot with this fungicide application. Timing, a lot big on timing. And then they're working on corn too, but just how to wisely put on our fungicide, because that pass is getting really expensive. And then even with all the diseases coming out now, you might have to do it 2 or 3 times. So it's even more key to have more legit sensors out there and plants to actually know when this fungicide should go on. So there's little things like that. I think autonomy is going to be a big one as that kind of gets fine tuned. We are square enough, but we have all the pivots and wells and obstacles in the field that kind of make that a little bit tougher. And then Blue River Technology actually tested a lot of that here. And then they came and did See and Spray. So that's why I kind of opened up my farm as a testing spot. That way I can kind of see it come to fruition.
And so are you using See and Spray then?
We don't. The only thing we don't have is a sprayer. So I kind of leave that to professionals, especially with all the chemical and stuff changing. That's one thing we do hire out. But it's intriguing. I don't know. I don't think anybody around here is running it yet, but I'm sure it's getting on the radar. Kansas, I know there's some big operations that run it and seeing a big ROI out of it on savings. So I think it'll be here fairly soon. But if your operation is big enough and you can have a couple of them and do some efficient spraying, I think there's going to be a lot of openings here coming down the road.
Random question. Do you guys run cows, or have you ever run cows out there?
My grandpa and uncle did till about maybe 8 years ago, and then got out. And then my wife is from a ranching family, so she wants nothing to do with cattle over here. She likes traveling, and she's awesome. So I got to respect her for that. And then that's one fun thing that's coming. We got solar farms coming into the area. So they are taking over about 1,500 acres around my house. So I may be a sheep farmer in another year or two.
Are you farming sheep in those solar panel fields?
Yeah, that's my vision.
So, very cool.
But yeah, I think it's supposed to be done by 2028.
That's an interesting one for sure. What else is on your mind? You're an entrepreneurial guy. I'm sure you've had other business ideas that you're just kind of logging for future date. What else is on your mind that way?
I don't know if I can give away all my secrets, but I got a couple.
Oh, come on. Give us at least a couple.
Right. This agrivoltaics thing underneath solar panels. So I know solar panels get a horrible rap covering over fertile farm ground. I was a big advocate of that before I got the full story. And with this agrivoltaics and the possibilities underneath the solar farms, I think it's, especially with what happened in the markets this week, I don't know. I mean, I love farming, but when all it comes down to ROI, where you can actually make hundreds of dollars off your acres, why not? And then we can incorporate sheep, cattle, goats. Then I'm looking at some different plants and crops that I'm hoping might be able to fit underneath there. It's still kind of early, still starting that conversation. So then I think just this traceability stuff and finding better markets for our crop and producing a better crop. That's kind of in my mind. We got to kind of develop the infrastructure for it. And I've been in some meetings, regenerative stuff on that, and we're not quite there yet to say out loud, but just finding better markets for specialty grains and then a healthier crop.
And you talked about kind of diversifying with different kind of specialty grains or maybe some regenerative practice type stuff. Have you considered outside of grains, to different crops as a potential future for the farm?
A little bit. I've looked at pumpkins and just seen what I can grow underneath these solar panels and have the big story behind it. So that was kind of the secret. And I'm still looking at crops under that, but the sheep thing will be new if it comes through. And then I think we can only have cattle up to like 300 pounds or something, but I'm not really big on the cattle yet because we like traveling, but sheep are a little bit lower maintenance. That way saves mowing and saves the solar company money. So if we actually have sheep out here running, but I don't know, kind of always rye, and my dream to start a distillery or something like that and use our rye or something and then our corn. So that's kind of my pipeline dream if I had something up my sleeve. All
right. Well, cool. I'm excited to see what the future holds. Thanks so much for being on the show. Anything you want to add or emphasize before I let you go?
No, I think, I mean, we've done a lot on social media, me and you. So, I mean, it's just to actually make a difference. I think you need to get off the farm, go out there, meet at the conference, meet at networking places, and even like corn growers, Nebraska corn growers. I love being a part of that. Just get off the farm and try to help the agriculture community as much as you can. Because like I said earlier, it's really easy to stay on the farm and stay in your circle, but get outside your comfort zone, go into town and help the businesses, support the businesses, and then even go up to state level, help Nebraska corn growers, Iowa corn growers, whoever wants to be. And then, I mean, that's just kind of how I started. And then wasn't a few weeks ago, I got thrown and they sent me to Washington, D.C. with a company I helped. So got to sit down with Richard Fordyce and all the grower groups of National Farm Bureau, National Corn Growers. I was presenting in front of those guys and I was like, I was just hauling corn a few days ago. So it's crazy. If you get involved and just keeps going and getting better. So I just say get out there and help the whole community, and then it'll help your farm in the back end.
That's pretty cool. Q, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this is fun and easy. This is just like having a nice little conversation.
Well, thank you very much once again to Quentin Connealy for being on the show here today. That was long overdue to get him on the podcast. Make sure you're following him on all your social media platforms. I know on X, he's Q Connealy 19. I imagine he's probably something similar on other platforms too, but he's on all of them. And make sure you subscribe to their podcast, Between Two Farms. I think it's an interesting premise of two guys that really know farming and know tech. And I'm sure those of you who listen to the show will also enjoy that one. So that's Between Two Farms. I'll leave links to all that in the show notes. Again, thank you very much to Quentin for being on the show. And last but never least, thank you for your time and your attention. I do not take it lightly. I'll be back next week with another story of ag innovation.